Welcome back to Miss Curtis's art class. So today we are going to learn how to create our very own robot that has a special skill in society. Before we create our robot, I am going to read you a letter that I got from the president of Robot Headquarters. Dear Miss Curtis, we are writing to you from Robot Headquarters, USA. We know you have very talented student artists. We were wondering if your students could help us design a robot with a special skill that would be useful to society. Last year, we created the robot named Roby that turned clouds into rainbows. Roby is now a regular part of the crew. We are hoping to add a new member soon. Can you please help us? Remember, this robot must have a special skill that would be useful or helpful to society. Thank you. Sincerely, Mr. Gears 2.0, President, Robot Headquarters, Robotville, USA. So my robot right here that I created is actually turning rocks into tacos. So he's able to feed his community with some really yummy tacos. So let's get started. All you are going to need today is a piece of paper. So whether you have lined paper, computer paper, that's totally fine, and something to draw with. So I'm gonna use a Sharpie marker so you can see my lines nice and clear. And the first thing that we are going to do, as we usually do, is make our frame and name. I am going to hold my paper tight using the opposite hand that I'm drawing with. So for me, I use my right hand to draw. And I'm simply going to make a straight line to the best of my ability, going around the edge of the paper. Just leave a little bit of space. And if you find it challenging to make a straight line, you can always make a curvy line. So again, I'm just rotating my paper, pulling my marker nice and steady right along my paper. Okay, the next step is I am going to write my first and last name and homeroom number at the bottom right of my paper. So, Miss Curtis 219. Okay. Now, the first step to creating our robot is we are going to find the middle area of the paper, and that's where the middle of the body of the robot is going to be. So the first thing you're going to do is you are going to make a line that is in the shape of a rainbow or an arch. So I'm going to hold my paper and simply make a curving arch line. Okay. The next step is we are going to connect this rainbow shape across, and we are going to draw a straight line. This is going to close the shape. The next step that we're going to do is we are going to create the head. Now the head is the shape of a rectangle, so watch me first. I'm going to make a straight line, then a line going across, another line going across that's parallel to the bottom one, and then a straight line going down that connects. And now we have a rectangle shape for the head. The next step is we're going to make the neck, and this is two parallel lines in the middle. So 1, 2. The next step that we're going to create are going to be the shoulders. So the shoulders are going to be a rounded shape, and it looks just like so. So it starts at the top right area of the body, and it's just going to curve around. And then the same for the left side. Now notice that everything I'm doing on the right side, I'm doing on the left side, and that is called symmetrical. So same on both sides. Okay, the next step is we are going to create some arms. Now, if you want your robot's arm to be curving up or down, you can definitely change that. So on this robot, I have the arm going up, holding the taco, and then down to the right, holding the rock. So for this robot, I'm gonna make both arms just curving down. These are just curved lines. So Here I have an arm and another arm. And we can even make the hands right now as well, which is just a straight line and then 2 parallel lines coming off of that. And another straight line and 2 straight lines coming off again. It almost looks like fork hands, right? Okay. Now the next step is going to be to make some legs. Now my robot over here, I created 2 legs coming down with circle, almost like wheel feet. So for this robot, I am going to create 2 legs and I'm going to have them be squares for the feet. And you can do your legs however you want. If you want 1 leg with a circle wheel or you want 3 legs, like I said, go ahead and make your feet however you want. Okay, now the next step is going to be to make ears for our robot, and these are going to be rectangle shapes coming off the side of the head. So I've got one right here and another one on the left side. Now let's add some details to our robot. I think I'm gonna start with the head area. So I'm going to maybe make a little antenna for the top with a circle, and we can make some eyes and a mouth. So for the eyes, that's going to simply be a rectangle shape towards the top half portion of the head. And 2 eyes, which are straight lines coming down just like so. So parallel lines, and they look like rectangles. And then a nice U-shaped curve for a smile. Our robot is really starting to look good. Now let's focus on the body. So for the body, I'm gonna have a few shapes in here as well. And if you wanna add extra little buttons, you definitely can. So in the middle, I'm going to make a larger circle shape. And then I'm going to add a few buttons, which are just the shapes of squares. Okay? And on the original robot I drew, I made a circle shape. So like I said, add as many buttons as you want, have fun with it. And then this middle circle shape, I thought it would be fun if maybe you added a symbol or something that represents the skill of your robot. So over here, I have my robot in that picture as well as this one has a taco. So since he can turn rocks into tacos, I put a taco in the middle. So maybe you want to put something special inside that circle, and you can definitely do that. The next step is I'm going to make a horizon line so that this robot isn't just floating in space. He's actually grounded. The horizon line is in the background. So I'm gonna start at the edge of the frame and make a straight line that goes across, but watch me first. So I'm going to pull my marker, stop at the feet, go in between, and not cut through those feet because I want it to look as if the line, this horizon line, is in the background and our robot is in the foreground or the front. So now he is standing on the ground. At this point, you can add anything else. So if you want to add, like I said, your designs in the background or some more features to your robot, you absolutely can. And I would add a taco in the middle for mine, and then obviously my rocks and my taco and the hands. So maybe I draw, again, a taco in here. Put some lettuce, maybe a tomato, another tomato, and that looks pretty good. So now let me show you how you would go about coloring in this robot. For this project, I am going to be using markers and color pencils. If you have crayons, anything that you have at home you can use, that's perfectly fine. So I'm going to start with orange. And I'm deciding this time, instead of making my body yellow, I think that I will start to color the body orange. So with markers, you will see that there's a tip, and then the middle section is a little more broad. So if I press down on the side, I can get a nice wide mark. But if I use the tip, I can get into these little areas that are close to the line, which helps me have more control as I'm coloring. So what I'm gonna do is almost treat this marker like it's a lawnmower and try and make nice even strokes back and forth. And then when I get closer to edges, of course, I'm going to use my tip to color that in. Try your best to color in the image completely so that you're not leaving many white spaces. And I always tell students to do this because then you can see all of the color in your project becomes nice and bright, which always looks really nice. So I'm gonna try and get all of the white spots for this middle body of this robot. So I'm gonna go around, just like so, curving around my shapes. Okay, and I'm going to finish that in a moment, but I want to show you how I'm going to use the color pencils. So I'm going to, let's see, I'll use blue for the background, and I'm going to use green for the grass. Because my robot's like, he's out in the wilderness looking for these rocks he can turn into tacos. So with coloring with color pencils, I'm gonna do a motion that's back and forth, and I'm actually gonna press a little bit lighter because I want my grass just to be just a little bit lighter. I don't want it super dark. So I'm holding down my paper, and again, I'm making the motion of back and forth very carefully. Again, when I get to the edges, I stop and I'm going to slow down and maybe turn my pencil, try and get in those little spaces, and then again, continue. So take your time with this. I always love coloring. It's a lot of fun. Okay, I'm going to speed this up and let you see how this turns out, and then I can't wait to see your robots. Okay, so just like that, I finished coloring in my robot. And notice again that as I was coloring, I went left to right with the grass because, you know, I'm thinking about the grass and the sky going in a horizontal motion when I'm coloring back and forth rather than going up and down like this. So again, remember to color in the flow of whatever you're coloring in. So I'm really excited about this robot. I cannot wait to see yours. Remember to add whatever kind of creative things you want in your background depending on what kind of special skill your robot has. So yeah, so I can't wait to see yours, and I look forward to next week's lesson with you.